This is called cuff on the menu, which I hope it hasn't been confusing, but it was there to make it not confusing, because when you're putting a cuff on to a sleeve, in most every case, the cuff will be done in a much different stitch gauge, especially than the sleeve that you're knitting up. So you might have the upper part of the sleeve and just a normal stitch, and where you've done your cuff and ribbing, you have to know two different stitch gauges. So, but in this, I assume that you know the number of stitches on the cuff that you're coming from, perhaps as you're knitting up, and then the number of stitches you're going to. So you can start out and have enough stitches and keep right on going. So you go from, like on the example here, you figured it out and it was 19 stitches, or 19 inches, and that turned out to be 96 stitches. And here you had to go, well, let's make it a little easier to see, 106 stitches. So the answer comes up, and you would knit 9 stitches, increase once, and keep doing that 8 times. And then you would knit 8 stitches and increase once, twice. And then you would knit 8. And you would come out with 106 stitches to work from up the rest of your sleeve. So when you do this, the way I have it set up, you have to tell me how many stitches you have on the bottom and how many stitches you have to go to. So I figured this actually what you would do is just knit this, and you would know you had the right width. You knit up, and you know that you have 96 stitches to get the width you wanted. Maybe you figure that out somewhere else, like in my rectangle function of ribbing. So you had 96 stitches. Then you know what the stitch and row gauge is here, and you said, I want to go to 20 inches. That's probably not what you'd want, but, or 21 inches, that's 106, and it automatically figures it out for you. That's all. So you can, and it can go the other way because you're not always doing sleeves, and there are different things that you need to match up. So really you can just look at the stitches to stitches, or golf balls to golf tees or something. It doesn't matter what it is. The main thing is you know the number of stitches you're coming from and the number of stitches you're going to. Where this is set in and it's giving you the right width at that stitch and row gauge, but this obviously is not quite valid because this will be a different stitch and row gauge. Okay, so you go from 81 to 102, you read the instructions, and that's what you do. Hopefully that saves you some trouble.